A man noticed something weird during his trip. A perfectly intact bridge deck was actually chiseled with a hole. At first the man didn't pay much attention. He simply thought it was just road construction going on. But at that moment a cold wind blew past. A plastic bucket nearby fell off the bridge with the wind. While the coach bus was suddenly stopped by workers, the sudden brake accidentally cut Jeff's finger. And the weird thing started from then on. The TV on the bus suddenly lost signal. Right after that the radio actually played restless music on its own. Then another gust of cold wind came. The worker's hat was blown off along with it. Jeff also faintly felt a sense of unease. He looked up at the bridge deck. The workers were all concentrating on their work. Yet they didn't realize at all that the bridge deck was slowly cracking. And the cracking track was spreading faster and faster. The steel cables snapped because of this. Seeing that the bridge was about to collapse, Jeff panicked and pulled his girlfriend to run for their lives. But others weren't so lucky.
Candace! Candace!
Jeff could only drag his friend hard to leave this place quickly. A man who had no idea what was going on was still making a phone call in the bus. But as soon as he got out he fell into the river along with the bus. He was thrown around uncontrollably. Finally he was tightly stuck to the window, unable to move. The whole scene was in chaos. The remaining few ropes also broke because they reached their limit. The strong desire to survive made Jeff and his girlfriend run as hard as they could, but they still couldn't outrun the speed of the bridge deck breaking apart. Someone tried to jump to the opposite side, but couldn't hold on and fell into the river. The bridge split into 3 parts. Many people were just standing on the middle section. At this time Jeff suddenly saw that the steel frames at both ends were intact, so he held his girlfriend's hand tightly to give her courage to move forward. Daisy maintained her balance, trembling with fear, and finally successfully inched her way to the opposite side. However, when Jeff was about to cross too, a cry for help from his friend suddenly came from behind. The kind-hearted him didn't hesitate and went to help. He led her onto the steel frame in the same way. Unfortunately, this friend didn't have a good state of mind. Besides, she had lost her glasses in the chaos. Her sense of direction and judgment disappeared immediately. Just at that moment, the steel frame suddenly swung violently. The woman hugged the steel frame desperately to escape disaster. Daisy stretched out her arms trying to save her, but in the end she still failed. Fortunately, the friend was unharmed after falling into the water. Jeff's tense nerves finally relaxed a little, but before he could react, a sports car suddenly fell backward. The threat of death was still spreading continuously on the broken bridge. The steel bars fixing the bridge body suddenly shot up. Hearing his girlfriend's desperate cries, Jeff finally realized that the bridge deck under his feet couldn't bear the weight anymore. In the blink of an eye, the bridge tilted 45 degrees to the right. The steel cables lifted off the ground one after another. Many people lost their balance and fell into the river to their deaths. Only one man grabbed the tough steel bar, but he didn't even have time to feel lucky about it. The scalding hot asphalt came rushing towards him. At the critical moment, Jeff and his friend jumped up quickly and reached the opposite bank by a hair's breadth. At the same time, the bridge behind completely fell apart. No one knew how many families were broken because of this accident, but the place where the two of them were was still not absolutely safe. The truck next to Daisy slowly rolled backward. The steel bars on the truck shot out like a rain of swords, directly piercing the friend like a hedgehog. This plunged Jeff into endless fear, but he quickly came to his senses and continued to run for his life. But then the truck above his head sent out the signal of death again. Jeff was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. This nightmare felt like he had experienced it personally. Suddenly the car braked sharply. Sure enough, his thumb hit the iron sheet of the front seat. Jeff's instinctive movement of treating the wound made him suddenly remember something. Just then the screen flickered and turned into snowflake noise. The restless music also started playing in the carriage. Jeff was so scared that he was breathing rapidly. He stood up and warned everyone to run quickly. At the same time, he grabbed his girlfriend and got off the bus in a hurry. Everyone was very confused by his behavior, but before they could argue to a conclusion, the bridge suddenly shook violently. Then huge cracks spread crazily on the ground. At this point, even a fool would know that something was wrong. Everyone quickly ran backward and finally successfully saved their lives. But other people who didn't know the situation still couldn't escape the disaster. Everyone stared at this terrible disaster, too scared to say a word. But none of them expected that something even more terrifying was far from happening. Afterward, the police found them to ask questions, but no matter how Jeff argued, he couldn't dispel the inspector's suspicion. Although professionals stated that the culprit causing this accident was the hurricane, the inspector insisted that a conspiracy was the truth. This accident caused countless people to be separated from their loved ones forever, and also claimed the lives of many colleagues. But when everyone was about to leave after the memorial service, Jeff suddenly ran into a weird man whispering to himself,
"Death doesn't like to be cheated.
Excuse me? What's that supposed to mean?
You all just be careful now.
Okay. Thanks for the advice.
His friend didn't take the man's warning seriously at all, but an inexplicable panic surged in Jeff's heart. Time quickly passed to night. His friend accompanied his girlfriend to attend training. Considering that the indoor cooling system was too ineffective, the staff had to connect an electric fan to relieve the heat. But everyone present ignored one thing. That was the outer skin of the wire at the connection was damaged. At the same time, the pipe above suddenly started leaking water, and it coincidentally dripped next to the wire. After a while, the girlfriend was about to perform, but the rubber band on her wrist snapped without warning. This made her feel a sense of foreboding, but she didn't have time to think more, because the coach kept reminding her. She climbed onto the equipment and started training, but at the same time, the fan on the top was spinning too fast, causing a screw to fall off, and it hit the balance beam right on target. At this time, the girl was completely focused on her movements, not noticing the danger under her feet at all. Fortunately, she avoided the screw with every movement, and finally finished her performance safely and took a bow.
That's it. Every time, Candace.
There you go. Thanks. Nicely done, Candace. Okay, go to bars.
The girl moved on to the high bar, which was more testing of skills. She flipped nimbly and flexibly on the equipment, but didn't notice at all that the screws at both ends were slowly coming loose. At the same time, the new performer on the balance beam was unlucky. After a backflip, the screw pierced straight into the sole of her foot. When she fell, she also knocked over the chalk container beside her. A large amount of dust was blown up by the high-speed rotating fan. The girl who was performing was instantly blinded. The police soon arrived at the scene to reconstruct the accident, but no matter from what angle they approached it, they still couldn't figure it out in the end. Soon Jeff found his friend. At this moment, his friend was completely confused. Why did his girlfriend have an accident on the high bar which she was good at? Suddenly, through the crowd of people, Jeff found that the weird man was also here, but in the blink of an eye, the man disappeared without a trace. Everyone was shrouded in the shadow of their friend's death. At the same time, affected by the frequent accidents, everyone was a little uneasy. Only the nearsighted girl seemed different. The reason was that she had a deep prejudice against gymnastics, thinking that this sport was inherently associated with risks, and an accident was not surprising at all. After saying that, the nearsighted girl went out first, but when she was picking up her bag, she accidentally broke the photo of her and her friend. But considering that she was in a hurry to go out, she didn't take this matter to heart. She put down the photo and walked straight out. And there was another weird man in the company. He seemed very indifferent to his colleague's tragic accident. He even secretly stole the other person's belongings, and also found that a colleague had a coupon for a sauna, so he went there according to the address. The girls here were all as beautiful as fairies, which instantly made the chubby guy dazzled. When walking to the room, he also couldn't help but pat the statue a few times, but when the chubby guy was about to get down to business, he found that it was completely different from what he had imagined. Feeling very dissatisfied, the chubby guy shouted to change someone, but he immediately shut up under the old lady's fierce operation. He already looked weak, and at this moment he was completely at the old lady's mercy. Fortunately, the old lady's skills were really professional. Half an hour later, the chubby guy felt that his tiredness was completely gone, but he didn't expect that the next item would be so terrifying.
Oh. Wait. Are those things even sterilized? No, I'm not catching any diseases unless I've earned them.
The old lady was very speechless at the chubby guy's request, but she still did as he said. But at this moment, neither of them expected that this ordinary request would eventually claim the chubby guy's life. The old lady's techniques were extremely skilled. She finished inserting the needles in a few strokes. At this time, someone called the chubby guy, but the old lady stopped him on the grounds that he was having acupuncture, and put the phone on a cabinet far away from him. After inserting the last needle between his eyebrows, the old lady reminded the chubby guy to sleep peacefully for a while. Before leaving, she also dimmed the lights for him. Then she closed the door and went out. However, just as the chubby guy was sound asleep, an inexplicable cold wind blew into the room, and blew a piece of incense ash down. The towel, which had been disinfected with alcohol, caught fire along with it. When the chubby guy found out, he shouted in panic, but the sound insulation of the room was very good. His cries for help didn't attract anyone's attention. As the fire on the towel grew bigger, the anxious chubby guy even rolled off the bed and fell to the floor. A large amount of alcohol slowly flowed out, and the chubby guy fell into a coma completely. Soon the alcohol spread all over the room. When he woke up, the chubby guy struggled to get up by supporting the bed, then stumbled toward the door. But just then someone called again. The phone had been set to vibrate mode by him. It kept pressing against the candlestick outward, and finally fell down. soon after the police arrived here, but the result of the investigation was still an ordinary accident. Just at this time Jeff's attention was attracted by the opposite side. The weird man from before was also here. He resolutely walked toward the man and asked him the question he had been holding back for a long time.
Why are you following us? Who are you? You're at the cemetery, then the gym, now here? What are you doing?
My job.
What's happening to us?
What makes you think I know anything?
You warned us. At the memorial service, you said death didn't like to be cheated.
It's just that I've seen this before.
Seen what?
A lucky few survive the disaster, and then one by one, death comes for them all. You changed things on that bridge. There's a wrinkle in reality, and that wrinkle is you.
So what? We're doomed to die? I mean, is that it? We just got our lives back, so what kind of fucked up karma is that? Are you saying that we can't stop this?
You were supposed to die on that bridge. You're not supposed to be here. You're shorted death. So you let death have somebody else in your place, and then you take their spot in the realm of the living, all the days and years that they've yet to live. And they take your place in death. Then the books are balanced.
Wait a minute. We kill someone, we get their life? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't make the rules. I just clean up after the game is over.
After saying that, the man turned around and left, while everyone stood there lost in thought. The man's meaning was very clear, that the next victim would soon appear among them. However, regarding this conclusion, Jeff had his own thoughts. He thought that the result of everyone being killed was not valid. The reason was that in his dream back then he saw that Daisy finally survived because she escaped the bridge collapse. Jeff originally wanted to use these words to refute the man's statement, but he didn't expect it to arouse his friend's dissatisfaction. At the same time, the nearsighted girl was talking to the doctor because she had encountered too many misfortunes. She said she didn't want to live with glasses anymore before the treatment officially started. Following the doctor's instructions, she left her water cup on the water dispenser outside, but no one would have thought that this small action would trigger all the subsequent disasters. Sensing the nearsighted girl's panic, the doctor thoughtfully prepared a doll for her. Then he used equipment to fix her head. After completing the preparations, the doctor raised the surgical tools in his hand and held open the nearsighted girl's eyelids, but she was so scared that she exerted too much force and actually tore off one eye of the doll. Of course, the doctor, who was fully focused, didn't notice this at all. Instead, he quickly typed characters into the computer. After opening the data, he noticed that there were some errors in the content. The doctor opened the door and went out to confirm the information. The empty operating room was left with only the nearsighted girl. At this moment, the water level of the water dispenser suddenly started to drop. The water bucket shook and knocked the paper cups on top off. The numbers on the equipment display screen gradually increased. The abnormal noise made the nearsighted girl so scared that she shouted for help, but no matter how she shouted, no one came in to help her. The progress bar of the instrument was still going, and jumped to the maximum. The vibration caused was almost going to shake the control handle to the ground. Seeing this, the nearsighted girl quickly moved her hand, but accidentally let the handle fall to the ground. Then the radiation shot out, instantly leaving a scratch on her eyeball. She hurriedly tried to remove the head fixation device. Just then the ruthless machine was about to start again. To prevent her eyeball from being damaged again, she panicked and used her hand to block it. Seeing that the machine was about to shoot the laser again, Jeff and his girlfriend suddenly rushed to the hospital.
She might be in danger.
No, she's fine. We do this kind of procedure all the time.
With misfortunes happening one after another, Jeff could only silently accept the reality. Even the inspector's opinion had changed.
What do you want from us?
I want you to tell me what you think is going on. 2 deaths? Okay, all right. That's a coincidence. 3? That's a pattern. I know you two didn't do this. All right? But I think you know something. is it? But I think you know something.
We don't know anything.
Take a guess.
Jeff had to repeat all the information revealed by the weird man, but the inspector was even more confused. The next day he kept recalling the fragments in his dream, and finally inferred that the order in which everyone would die should be the same as in the dream. This meant that the next one might be Mike, and at this moment he was sitting in front of the monitor. After seeing someone slacking off during working hours, he immediately reported it to his boss. But just then, a crane actually moved toward here weirdly. Mike reacted very quickly. He pushed his boss away violently before the out-of-control hook fell down, but the boss still fell down. Soon his friends arrived one after another. After confirming that Mike was unharmed, Jeff's tense nerves finally relaxed.
I'm good.
His friend suddenly thought of something.
Did you kill him? What? No, I just... It was just time, you know? He got in the way and...
No, you did, didn't you? You saw it coming, and then you took his life. You put him in the way.
I didn't really do anything.
Tell us the truth. Did you or didn't you?
Hey, Peter, calm down.
Did you or didn't you?
Mike was struggling inwardly.
Did you or didn't you?
Yes. I think I did. I killed him.
His friend inferred that if nothing unexpected happened, this meant that Mike was no longer on death's list. But who would be the next one? As everyone was talking, the bald man also arrived here.
Who wants to be the first to tell me what the hell just happened?
Who is it, Sam? Who's what?
Dennis!
The accident further confirmed what Mike had said. Mike was indeed removed from death's list. Then the next one would be his friend. To survive, he had to prepare to kill someone else, so as to gain a glimmer of hope. But just as his friend was about to succeed, the conscience in his heart stopped him from stepping into the abyss. His friend didn't want to survive in this way. At night, he met with Jeff. His friend said that no one's life was more precious than others. But why was Daisy the only one who could avoid the disaster? As soon as he finished speaking, he took out a weapon, planning to exchange Daisy's life for his own. Fortunately, Jeff overturned the table in time. He and Daisy ran into the kitchen in a panic. At the same time, the inspector who stayed outside also heard the gunshot. Jeff told Daisy to find a place to hide. While he hoped to make his friend come to his senses through communication, Jeff inferred that the person the other party wanted to kill was Daisy, which meant that his situation was safe. But his friend in front of him was completely irrational, and actually attacked Jeff ruthlessly, then forced him to say where Daisy was hiding.
It's not your time yet.
The frightened Daisy hid in the corner. Unexpectedly, she was found by the inspector who rushed in.
Are you okay? What's going on?
It's Peter. He has a gun. Oh my God.
No one expected that the innocent inspector would become the substitute. Daisy begged Peter to let her go. Even though the other party had already got what he wanted, he still used the excuse that Daisy had witnessed everything, and still didn't plan to let her go. After all, he didn't want to leave a witness alive. At the critical moment, Jeff suddenly appeared, grabbed a frying pan and directly knocked Peter's weapon away. Unfortunately, Jeff's combat effectiveness was far inferior to Peter's. He was defeated after a few rounds. Then Peter picked up a weapon and walked toward Daisy. At this time, the pistol had been heated to the point of deformation. Then Jeff grabbed a pitchfork and attacked from behind, and personally brought an end to this crisis.
It's gone. You killed him.
So does that mean I get Block's life? Yeah. Yes, I do.
After experiencing all kinds of terrible disasters, the two of them planned to go far away to relax. Who would have thought that they saw someone fooling around on the plane? One of them was still talking nonsense constantly. Jeff didn't pay much attention to this, just regarded it as a farce. But after the plane rose into the air, that restless song suddenly started playing in the cabin. Jeff immediately realized that something was terribly wrong. Then the flight suddenly jolted violently. After the plane stabilized, Jeff's heart finally calmed down a little, but looking at his finger, it was actually exactly the same as the scene back then. Then the engine sparkled.
No.